Hello, this is Josh from Vitality Maximized, and today we're going to talk about why I am a mineral balancing practitioner. Before we begin, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and make constructive comments to help us improve with our content. And yeah, let us begin. Let us begin. Let us begin. All right. So, why am I a mineral balancing practitioner? In order for you to understand why I'm a mineral balancing practitioner, you got to sort of understand the differences between blood test, hair test, and urine tests. So, mineral balancing, to just explain in a nutshell, is using or it is understanding how minerals affect our energy production and our metabolism, and how we respond to stress. So it's kind of like a stress analysis profile, if you want to put it that way. So we or I use hair test to understand how the body is producing energy, more so than blood tests or urine tests. So why is this the case? Let us start with blood. Blood is what you may call a homeostatic medium. What it means is that the blood is a very sensitive medium, and because it is sensitive, it likes to keep itself balanced as much as it can, because um, so and it's kind of how like the body is made to operate in that sense, because blood is like the blood helps us transport proteins and everything that we need to our target organs and tissues. Next, blood is shows minute to by minute reading, so that means um, it's very dynamic, doesn't stay. It's more dynamic, it's more prone to change, and everything that describes minute by minute. So next, it changes rapidly, so that means that certain biomarkers are influenced whether you eat, whether you drink water, or whether you exercise, or whether you've had an argument with someone, or whether you've gotten poisoned by gotten lead poisoning of some kind. So this is what it means by it changes rapidly. Biomarkers change all the time. Blood is what you may call the highway, or the you know or the roads that help us to transport from one way to the other. Just like in a city or town, if there are not roads to help us go from point A to point B, all commerce and exchange of value will halt and cease to operate as optimally. So same with the blood. If there's any cutoff or any cutoff of supply to the blood to all target organs and tissues, right? We cease to exist. So that's what we think about. That's all I think about. The blood is the same as like roads in a town or city. And because of all these four reasons below that I mentioned previously, they can be extremely useful for acute health challenges, especially when they are more life or death situations. Um, for example, so it does have its use, obviously when things are already dire. Urine tests. First, urine tests are excretory in nature. By this I mean that we get to piss 6 to 10 times a day, and we pee out what the kidneys do not reabsorb, and so yeah, this is what we mean by excretory. Minute by minute, meaning that every time you pee it changes, or basically the components of your urine will change based on what you've done, whether how much water you drink, or how much protein you eat, or how much carbohydrates you eat, or other, or function of your pancreas or any other organ. So like, let's say you didn't drink a lot of water, like for a period of time, like let's say a few hours, and then your pee might be yellow, very yellow, or very colored urine. And then if you then drink quite a bit of water and then you pee next, your pee could be more clear. So it changes and a bit more dynamic. And this just buttresses my point about when you drink enough water example. And lastly, it's kind of like your waste removal. So like in a city or town, your city government will have like a waste removal services where maybe every once or twice a week, they will you'll need to take out your trash chute, or your trash bag, whether it might probably be black, or if it's recycling then it's in green. So yeah, waste. So that's the function of the urine, is to remove the waste that remove the waste that we've excreted through in our bodies. Or that's one way to remove waste, if I want to put it that way. All right, hair tests. For starters, hair tests are what enters the cells. So as you know, hair is a soft tissue. Tissues are composed of cells in the body. So hence it is a representation of what is going on at a cellular level, to a very large extent. We also say it is an excretory tissue, simply because the hairs where minerals are deposited could either be there as a safety or defense mechanism, or and as the response to the stress that is imposed on the body. All right, it is non-essential. What we mean by non-essential, because all imbalances in the body, whether it's mineral imbalances or any other imbalances in the body, will show up in non-essential tissues first before it starts reaching for the essential tissues and mediums such as the blood. So and because of the fact that it's an excretory and a non-essential tissue, mineral levels tend to be 10 times higher than in the blood. Obviously, as I mentioned, in the blood likes to be maintained at a tight range. So whatever it's not needed for the blood to maintain its homeostasis, it gets deposited to soft tissues in the body, which hair is a soft tissue in the body. So it's easier to detect minerals, and it's also easier to detect toxic metals. There is a reference which I'll link below. It is the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. They did a 300-page review of 400 studies of hair analysis in 1979, and they said, in quotes, it was a meaningful and representative of biological monitoring for major toxic metals. So it is a very excellent tool for monitoring toxic metals. And let's not forget that it is also simple and it is non-invasive. You don't have to pluck out portions of your organs for a biopsy. We don't have to draw out blood, which can be traumatic for some people. So there's also the non-invasive nature of it, which I think is better in the long run. And lastly, hair is what you may call a chemical factory. Why? Because hair is made of soft tissue. Tissues are made of cells, and cells always, make, proteins depending on how much nutrition it gets. So they are what you may call chemical factories. Yeah. So let us proceed. And so as a result of this, because of the non-essential nature, the excretory nature, and also the fact that it's also slower to change, and it's not that it doesn't get moved as much by some of your daily activities, whether you've eaten or had an argument and all of that. We can now detect better longer term patterns and trends. So it's extremely helpful in that regard, for for monitoring patterns and trends. Hair tests are not used for diagnosis of any kind, and it is best not to use it of that kind and nature. So it's better to see things as what the body is having to adapt and compensate for. So patterns and trends are better to use, and it also ties in more with what habits and behaviors that predispose a certain client to have certain health conditions. Like hair analysis can tell us all of this in some way, depending on how it gets interpreted. Obviously, you're getting expert interpretation from me, because I've learned from the very best in this regard. And I just need to buttress also once more the importance of minerals. Minerals are, without minerals we will die, put simply. I did read when I was doing like a course, a personal training course, and they were talking a little bit about nutrition. They said exactly this, that there are 80 times more minerals than vitamins. I'll repeat that. There are 80 times more minerals than vitamins. So to understand the role of minerals, they power enzymes, neurotransmitters, hormones, and the relationship between them can give us a lot of insights. So and also minerals don't tend to be talked about enough or in much great depth, other than those who do some of the same work that I do, right? So minerals, and I'll just read out quotes from pioneers in this space. Minerals are what you may call the stepchildren of nutrition. This was said by Dr. Paul Eck. Minerals are the spark plugs of life. This was said by Dr. Henry Schroeder. Minerals are what we may call frequencies of light. I don't know who said this, but I thought this was very useful for the purpose of this video. And the last one is that minerals are the principal energy producing components of the human body, and it really is, because without minerals, enzymes don't work at all. All right, so I owe a very great tribute to the work of Dr. Paul Eck. Painstakingly basically dedicated his whole life towards the science of human energy, and the role of minerals in, maximizing our energy and vitality. The next video, I will talk a little bit about who Dr. Paul Eck is. He's one of, as I've mentioned, he is one of my top mentors, and and in terms of the stuff that I've read about him, he's a top guy. Big up to Dr. Paul Eck. May his soul hear all of this, and I really hope to bring his work forward to the public, like I am doing now, and spearhead this new dawn of bioenergetic paradigm. So so please don't forget, as we wrap up, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and comment constructively on either our YouTube or channel or our Odyssey channel. The next time we will go a little bit and we'll give a greater tribute to Dr. Paul Eck. Stay tuned for that. So thank you. So thank you for listening to this today. So you gauge where I am coming with this. So thank you and goodbye. God bless. See you all again soon.